Breaking news, my lovely, wonderful people. See what Bello El-Rufai says about Oby that is causing a lot of reactions. In case you're not aware, things are becoming rather very, very complicated. Recently, Bello exposed the fact that, his father and Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu are not and were never friends. In fact, he exposed Tinubu very well, saying Tinubu only used his father, that the truth of it is that they were never friends. That you thought they were friends? No. He said, in fact, his father is one of the most hated politicians in the history of Nigeria in Abuja. Please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, like us, share, subscribe. Let's get all the details. Bello El-Rufai says some things about Oby that is making rounds on social media. He says, when we were kids, we used to go to Oby Church. Her husband is a pastor. The son of the former governor El-Rufai, Bello El-Rufai, recently discussed his relationship and his friendship with Oby during a mic-off podcast conversation with Sheung. Bello disclosed that when he was a young boy, he used to go to the church where Oby's husband was a pastor, gave sermon. He claimed that, considering their past relationship, he was uneasy when Oby's silence overclaimed that his family harbored amnesty towards Christians. When they were talking about my father, that he was the one who brought Bokos to Nigeria and the head of Bokos, I was thinking Oby would have said something. When I was young, we used to go to Oby's church. Her husband is a pastor. She and her family are very aware of this. I was expecting her to defend my father, come out and speak. He even remembered that providing their strong relationship, Oby has prepared a reference letter for him to enroll in Georgetown University. In Bello's words, El-Rufai's son, when we were kids, we used to go to Oby's church. Her husband is a pastor. We used to go there, and she was right there. We see her, we greet her after church. We had issues with Christians, and we had issues with Christians who called my father a religious bigot. So we called on her, expecting that she would defend my father and say, no, he used to go to a church. So I asked, why isn't she even coming out to say this? This is not who we are. My father said, just leave it, just leave them. So already I was not happy with her. Before that, I went to Georgetown and Oby wrote my recommendation letter. This is how close we were. Her son and I went to the same high school. Her husband is a pastor. I'm not saying stories. You can ask, confirm. So I'm surprised that she never said a word or anything about the current disposition of what is being said about my father in the media. We expected a lot. I even mentioned this to my father, who said, leave them. Just leave them. But I expected more from her. I am disappointed. So you just heard the whole story, and I would like to hear your take on all of this. We know her as a former Minister of Education during Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's time. And in recent time, Bello has been talking about his father. He said his father is one of the most hated politicians, and that Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu was one of the users who used his father. And after using his father, the Senate did not approve his father's ministerial bid. They just discarded them. He said in Kanu, his father is greatly hated. People see his father as someone who is causing insecurity, does not like Christians. And he said he went back to his father to ask that, is this not the same woman we used to go to her church? He said when they were small, they used to go to her church, all of them. I don't know if he said his father, but he said himself. They used to go to, their church, and the husband is a pastor. She even wrote a recommendation letter for him. So he expected that, she'd be one of the voices that would defend, his father. He said, so he mentioned this to his father, and his father said, just leave them, just leave them. So could it be that is a double-edged sword. Could it be that, he's just been accused? There is really nothing there. We don't know. But these are some of the words that we are hearing with regards to, with regards to what is going on currently right now. That there is all kinds of statements, all kinds of words being put out there, and everybody's watching, and we want to understand what is going on at the moment. You see, so what exactly is happening? El-Rufai's son is feeling the itch. He's the one who has been speaking. We've not really heard from El-Rufai. When El-Rufai was not clarified by the Senate rather, to be a minister, in Nigeria, he said he was going for his PhD, and that was the least we heard of him. That was for now. That's what we've heard from him. But his son in recent days has continued to speak that, Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu used his father, and when it was time for him to at least give him a position as a minister, he cleverly dodged it, saying that the Senate did not approve, his father's senatorial bid. So he has been speaking and, picking, pointing fingers to whom it may concern. And former Minister of Education, Oby, came on the scene. He said they used to go to the same church. He used to attend their church. Her husband was a pastor, and he expected more from her to speak, to defend them, because part of the reason why, the father was not certified or clarified by the Senate was because there is a lot of insecurity matters attached to him, insecurity and what have you. So it's really a very, very, dicey one, and everybody's watching and want to understand where all of this is coming from, what's going on, and what could potentially happen going forward. So it is a very, very clear one. So my lovely people, how do you see all of this? How do you look at it? What's going on, and how can we sincerely, truly, put a finger to what is happening in Nigeria today? Politicians are politicians, so don't get it twisted. Don't get involved when their interests align. You will see them relating and speaking together and doing things. But when there is a fallout of interest, that's when you hear the matter. When they went to Chetham's house in London, was it not El-Rufai Tinubu was referring questions to? When he was asked questions, he would call on El-Rufai to ask the questions. So we thought they were, beings in a pod. We thought they were, bodies that cannot be separated. But what happened? When it was time for ministerial position, he was the first person, that was discarded by the Senate, that they cannot certify him. Somebody who has been a governor. And by the way, we're not rooting for El-Rufai. We're not. We're just letting you know that politicians at the end of the day are politicians. So he said his father said he should leave them, just leave them. That's how they rule. Just leave them. Well, my lovely people, what do you think? Leave us a comment. God bless. Bye for now.